YNW Melly's legal team recently filed motions ahead of his bond hearing to suppress YNW Bortlen statements, claiming they contain false information. Removing these statements could pave the way for Melly to secure a release date before his trial. To understand the impact, we have to look at Bortlen's alleged lies. Records show that on October 26th, Cortland Henry Bortlen arrived at the Memorial Hospital ER, seeking help for his passengers, sack chaser, and juvie. Detective Moretti questioned Henry at the hospital, where he gave his version of events and even took investigators to the alleged crime scene. However, just like his initial interrogation, detectives already suspected he wasn't telling the truth.
Here's the hard part where we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walk it out. They didn't find as much as one shell casing. They didn't find one piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing to what you said adds up. And it's hard.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, that's the glass.
I mean, for whatever reason, your two friends, are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These my like,
these your two, I'm assuming close friends.
Yeah, we got.
And you're doing them an in-service by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth, sir. I don't like. How? What do you want?
How do you make shell casings disappear?
I don't know. How can I tell you about a shell case?
Even though investigators suspected Bortlen was lying years ago, legal procedures required them to document his entire statement. According to records, when Henry arrived at the emergency room, he told officers that his vehicle and friends had just been targeted. As backup arrived, he explained that they had just left a recording studio. Henry claimed that while stopped at a red light, another car pulled up and opened fire on them. He insisted that he ducked for cover and drove away, sticking firmly to the story throughout his entire interrogation.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Man, I was playing music. Getting off the exit. I was already getting sleepy. Almost home. You know what I'm saying? And like just out of nowhere, like I just heard. You know what I'm saying? So, and I ducked down. You know what I'm saying? In the car.
Hey, Ashley,
and I almost crashed the car.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the studio, from Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale studio. Which way did you take?
I took I-75, 595 to
75.
Expressway. Yeah.
Then you took 75 south?
The responding officer then pressed for specific details regarding YNW Bortlen's actions during the incident. They questioned his driving, asking if he had collided with anything while trying to escape. They also wanted to know if he could identify the individuals responsible for the alleged attack against them.
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's gotta be some evidence there. There's gonna be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here from when you guys opened the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's gonna be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's gonna be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's gonna be evidence over there. Okay, right now, there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
Since YNW Bortlen statements are seen as clear fabrications, Melly's defense team is pushing to have him suppressed, arguing that these lies make a fair defense nearly impossible. His lawyers claim that admitting these statements violates Melly's Sixth Amendment right to confront his accuser. They further argue that Bortlen's own guilt or dishonesty shouldn't be used to bias a jury against Melly. While Bortlen originally told police a drive-by occurred, investigators found zero evidence to support that claim. Eventually, Bortlen accepted a plea deal, pleading no contest to accessory charges while his more serious charges were dismissed. This creates a major problem for Melly because Bortlen's deal includes a proffer agreement, meaning he is now cooperating with the state. He received a sentence of 10 years plus 6 years of probation. To finalize this, he must provide a factual basis for his plea, essentially admitting how the crime was committed. Similar to Ghana's role in the YSL trial, Bortlen is now legally required to provide the court with a truthful account of the events.
Out saying people are upset. I said, this is a gunner plea. This is a gunner plea. This isn't a plea saying you have to tell on him, but this is a plea that you're going to have to provide all the details that they were missing to convict him. And that's why it's a gunner plea. Why do I say he signed a gun plea? Because YNW Melly, and I watched the case, we covered it. YNW Melly's case is that, number one, you guys have not done a job to prove that this is actually they have proved, but prove that this is a homicide with this person being the offender. Also, the accessory after the fact plea confirms that Bortlen, that's kind of like almost like a sub part of a conspiracy, except you weren't with the conspiracy at first. You came in after the fact. What that proved is that they came in. Oh my God, my dog's dying. What that proved is that Bortlen worked with someone after he acknowledged that a took place in trying to cover it up. Do you hear what I just said? When pleading to an accessory to after the fact, you have to acknowledge that the happened and you assisted someone or in some way to cover the. Now, if Melly's statement is, how do we know, and then secondly, how do we know who did it? Because they said it was a drive-by.
Simply put, Bortlen is now required to explain exactly how the incident happened from his perspective as someone inside the vehicle. While he doesn't necessarily have to name YNW Melly, he must describe the specific details of the event. If his testimony confirms that juvies and sack chasers passing resulted from an incident that occurred inside the car rather than a drive-by, it could be devastating for Melly's defense and lead to a guilty verdict.
He will be flipping. He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in the prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time. But long story short is it looks like he's going to flip. And it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly is responsible.
This is why Melly's legal team is pushing to exclude Bortlen's statements entirely. On the night of the incident, Bortlen claimed it was a drive-by shooting, but under his plea deal, he must now admit that the shooting actually happened inside the vehicle. This creates a direct conflict for the jury. It would not only be confusing, but it would also suggest that Melly was trying to avoid responsibility. His lawyers would then have to build a defense that accounts for 2 completely different scenarios. That is not the only concern, though. The prosecution also has Melly's ex-girlfriend as a key witness, which makes removing Bortlen's statements even more critical.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
When YNW Melly's trial began in 2023, his ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton was wanted by authorities after failing to appear in court. Despite repeated calls and visits to her home, she had seemingly disappeared. However, near the end of 2025, missing her family, she decided to return home. She booked a flight using her ID, which immediately triggered a security alert. While waiting for her luggage at the airport, officers approached her and placed her under arrest. At her first court appearance, the judge offered her a deal, telling her that if she agreed to testify against Melly, she would be released. She accepted without hesitation, delivering devastating news for YNW Melly. Shortly after, she posted on Facebook, "To my village, thank you to my village. I love you all so much. God's plan, not mine." According to a 5-page memo, prosecutors later dropped a witness tampering case against Jamel Demons in order to avoid jeopardizing key jail call evidence considered essential for the pending double homicide trial. The state explained that ongoing suppression issues surrounding those calls could risk losing critical evidence ahead of the 2027 retrial. Prosecutors had previously charged Melly with witness tampering and gang-related offenses, alleging efforts to prevent Hamilton from testifying. Financial records reportedly show Hamilton received more than $31,000 from Melly's management company and associates, along with assistance purchasing a Mercedes despite having no reported income. Investigators also cited jail calls, surveillance footage, and inmate communications that allegedly showed Melly directing a relay system to inmates James, Howard, and Terrence to pass messages outside the jail after losing phone privileges. According to the memo, recorded calls in coded language were used to instruct associates, including co-defendant YNW Bortlen, to keep Hamilton away from the courtroom, claims that were previously mentioned in an interview by Juvie's father several years ago.
There was this kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person and then that person.
Saying like to me, they going through extreme measures, try to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom.
While the situation may seem serious, Melly's legal team recently made a move that could significantly impact the outcome of the case. In fact, it even led to his mother posting on Instagram that Melly could be coming home soon. Reports revealed that after spending 7 years behind bars, Melly formally requested release as part of a new bond motion that on Wednesday, March 25th, his new attorneys filed a motion in Broward County seeking that bond set. They argue that Melly has been held under harsh conditions, including solitary confinement since December 2021. According to filing, he has not been allowed in-person visits for nearly 4 years, and his phone privileges were revoked in 2022. Over the past 7 years, previous attempts to secure bond were denied each time. However, this time, a hearing has officially been scheduled. Court documents state that Melly could potentially be released if bond is granted at the scheduled April 30th hearing. The report further explains that he is entitled to reconsideration due to changed circumstances and new evidence that was not previously reviewed by the court. As part of their argument, his attorneys also reminded the new judge that during the original trial, prosecutors acknowledged that no firearm was ever recovered.
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what firearm was used.
Okay.
They would then go on to present evidence discovered inside YNW Bortlen's residence that reflects quite poorly on him.
Melly's co-defendant YNW Bortlen was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law and Crime Network states as follows. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortlen, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Dimmons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortlen allegedly tampered with the witness.
The specific details regarding the findings in Bortlen's home state. Presented here are images of alleged notes found during a raid of YNW Bortlen's house just last week, as filed with the Broward clerk by the state. In addition to these photos, there were notes where Bortlen detailed exactly where specific jurors were seated, including descriptions of their physical appearances. During Melly's initial trial, Bortlen attended for a single day to handle his own scheduling. While there, he apparently memorized the seating chart and the looks of the jury members. After returning home, Bortlen sketched the entire layout on paper, creating the impression that if the jury found his friend guilty, he intended to take matters into his own hands for Melly. To be completely honest, this looks very suspicious.
Keep it real, this is sloppy. Bortlen, how the f you gonna have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Holy sh! Like, come the f on. It's like doing a and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of the is in your DVD player. Like, oh, okay, thank you, brother. This can't be at your crib.
Furthermore, Melly's legal team plans to use his current jail conditions as leverage to secure his release. Currently, YNW Melly is filing a lawsuit against the Broward County Jail. According to reports, Melly is suing the Broward Sheriff's Office for cruel and unusual treatment, seeking immediate release. He claims the facility has prohibited him from seeing or even speaking with his family for over 3 years. This situation is drawing major reactions from others in the industry. with some saying they support Melly's release because he has been incarcerated for too long. In a legal filing, his lawyers allege he is being kept in a freezing cell without edible food or any human contact, which has caught the attention of many people. On the other hand, figures like Charleston White have argued that Melly should not receive special treatment just because he is a famous rapper.
The YNW Melly, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated. Yeah, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated, homie. Homie, when you take a life, homie, you ain't got a right to complain about a motherfucking thing about being mistreated when you done chose to play somebody.
Make sure to comment down below if you want to see YNW Melly free. I plan to read all of your responses. Also, hit the like button on this video if you are a fan of Melly. I'm curious to see how many of you are watching.